Welcome everyone to another session of Art of Homeownership Live. We are especially excited for this session because we have two of our Rockstar Art of Homeownership partners on with us today. Might even be joined by a third one if we're lucky. Brent Willis jumping on with us. We have Scott DiGregorio on with us today. He is in the Florida market. And then we also have Wade Betz on with us today in the Dallas-Fort Myers market. And they've both been doing really great things with Art of Homeownership, kind of finding their niche and how they can really maximize their business by using the platform. So we're going to talk today about each area that they've really been focusing in and how that's benefited their business. So going into this new market with rates rising and, the market is crazy, just communicating with your clients in a more effective way, just how Art of Homeownership can really help you do that. So Scott, do you want to talk a little bit? I'm going to kick it over to you first.
Yeah.
Just about kind of how long you've been in the business, how long you've been using Art of Homeownership, and really the general lift that you've seen in your business by being on the platform.
So I've been in the business 25 or so years. I signed up for AOH. I had to have been one of the early. It was the end of 2019. So, I saw it, and the lift in the business, Val, I think actually the lift, I'll go in two different directions. The thing that attracted me first and foremost was it enabled me to walk my walk better. We all want to provide great value after closing, and we all want to provide the things, but without a sophisticated platform like Art of Homeownership, maybe Wade has a different story, but I was frustrated that I was coming up short from time to time. So it enabled me to back up my talk with a rock solid platform. And, that lifted my business in all kinds of ways. It also enabled me to differentiate myself to clients, real estate agents. And then I know we'll talk more about corporate benefits, but that's been a huge angle for me as well with it.
That's awesome. Thanks, Scott. Wade, kick it over to you next. How long have you been in the business? A little bit about where you're at right now, and then just the lift that you've seen in your business from AOH.
Yeah, no problem. So I've been in the business since 2006, primarily in the Dallas, Texas area, but of course servicing wherever your relationships take you, wherever I'm licensed. And it's been a great journey, frankly. So the reality, like Scott mentioned, we all want to do more for our clients. I think those of us that make a career out of this and don't just come in and out of the business when refis are happening. But if you really want to add value over an extended period of time, you've basically got two choices. You can go it alone and forge your own path, or you can just plug into a proven, scalable system that delivers tremendous value and really helps solidify the answer to the question of why us. So, we're not all going to have the cheapest rate all the time, but we can sure as hell deliver the most value all the time. So that's kind of what that's done for me. So the uplift in my business, like Scott said, has been being able to kind of walk the walk and back up the answer to that question of why us. That's the value proposition that we bring. A little kind of side note, one of my former coaches on my very first ever coaching call literally asked me that question, why you? And I thought it was a rhetorical question. And she says, no, that's a real question. Go now. And put me on the spot. And I was 8 or so years in the business at that point. I've closed hundreds of millions of dollars of volume at that point. And I just totally botched it. Botched it. She put me in the spot. I botched it. And she's kind of like, oh, that wasn't that good. You need to work on that. And it got even worse. She's like, because from where I sit, you're like the stereotypic banker, middle-aged, white male, button-down shirt. And it was just like, oh God, she nailed me. She nailed me. And so the fact is, she's like, you're like a head of iceberg lettuce. You go to the grocery store, you want some lettuce, you go to the bin, it all looks the same, sounds the same, tastes the same. Why you? Answer that question. And I've struggled with that answer for years until AOH. And then it's just and now it's very easy to see, what we bring to the table. So that's my kind of story about how I got to AOH. And honestly, I lose track of when I started. Within 2 years, the last 2 years for sure. I can't remember the exact date.
Yeah. Yeah, and to your point, I think like some mortgage professionals are pretty confident when they ask or they answer the question, why you, but it's not differentiating. So we talk all the time about it's rate, speed, service. I mean, that's everyone's kind of go-to answer because they think that it's, you know, a little bit better than everyone else. And maybe it is, but it's not substantial enough to really say like, wow, I'm going with you, no questions asked because you're so much better than the competition. No one can really differentiate that much when it comes to, and you're just kind of giving your business up to the market and what that is going to do.
Have a competitive rate and deliver the most value over time, and you will win, and you will impact a lot of families.
Bless you.
Thank you. Exactly. Yeah, and it's, you know, and the thing is this, even if you talk about, you know, rate, speed, service, and you're so honest and so sincere and so genuine, you know, 90% of the people before you said the exact same thing and maybe wasn't as honest and sincere and didn't deliver on it. So regardless of how much that is your truth, it's not believable. And that's a problem. And AOH gives a tangible benefit across everybody you speak to. And yeah, it's just, it in my mind, it puts you in a totally different league on day one.
Yeah, absolutely. So Scott, I want to talk, we're going to tailor this a little bit to the benefits that each of you have kind of zeroed in on and said, this is where I'm going to focus the art of homeownership value and what I'm going to try to go after. So Scott, I think for you, that has really been, we talk a lot about the corporate partnerships. So going to a corporation and becoming that preferred lender because you have this value. And I see Brent's jumping on with us as well. So I'm going to add him to the stream here. Welcome, Brent. Thanks for joining us.
Sorry to be late. Just a little bit of technical difficulty, which is not unusual for me.
It's okay. So Scott, can you tell us a little bit about going to that corporate entity and how you've had success with that in building your business?
Yeah. So, you know, when I looked at AOH, obvious benefit to my clients, obvious benefit to my real estate partners, kind of did that. But what really jumped out to me as a huge opportunity was the corporate benefits piece of it. And, you know, we were talking before we went live here, we were talking a little bit about rates going up and refis vanishing and stuff. Anybody's been doing this for a long time knew that was coming. You know, we could pontificate on the when, but not the if. So I worked very hard to try to put some big numbers in my database. So the first company I had, Hertz Rent-A-Car, is their global headquarters are 20 minutes from where I'm sitting. So I started speaking to my database. I found the contact with them. Things were going good with them. And then COVID hit and they declared bankruptcy and I haven't heard from them since. Mm-hmm. But then I was talking to somebody else, a realtor partner of mine, and I was trying to brainstorm. I know she's born and raised here, and she's a legitimate friend with our mayor. And we're able to set up meetings. It's probably been a 15-month process to the red tape and the city council and all of the stuff, but we are approved as a benefits provider for my local municipality. About 18,000 people is encapsulated in that. And, you know, in my mind, that's proof of concept, right? Like once you get the first one, now it's easy because one of the things I love about House Happy is you could add your own service providers. Yeah. So now that I have the city, now I could go after all of these other components of things and, you know, pick up big AC companies, electrical companies, you know, vet them properly, of course. But the spread of that, and then I have that relationship with that one agent that opened the door. So I'm leveraging my agents, giving them a huge step up in their business, and then leveraging their database and their contacts to open up doors. And it's again, this, you know, starting with the city is a big one, but it's gone really well, and I may have a foot in the door with the teachers as well through that. So awesome. It could be a huge opportunity to really help and provide value to a lot of people.
And what does that relationship look like over time? How are you really going to nurture all of the people that you get into your database through Art of Homeownership?
So one of the things that we focused on very heavily with the mayor and the city council was the need for proactive ongoing education. I'm sure everybody on this call would agree, and most people watching would agree, that the lack of fiscal literacy in this country is catastrophically bad. On a side note, I'm actually working with the school board to volunteer and provide financial literacy curriculums to get into the local high schools, and I'm going to try to get that national. But so what we wanted to do was, we put together a presentation that showed how people's, one of their primary sources of stress is their finances, and how that stress negatively impacts their job performance, and got them to buy into the fact that the education is what it's all about. So the agents and I are going to be putting together twice a month videos that are going to be emailed out to everybody to help supplement the platform. And then we're also talking about having us set up actual educational seminars for the employees exclusively. Like they were talking about, the water department would be a good one, where we might have 100, 200, 300 people that we could touch on a specific subject. We're going to be doing some email exchanges with like SurveyMonkey or whatnot to try to find out the topics that are most interested in them. And then we're just going to deliver that content. So it's going to be an ongoing bit of work. It's certainly not a set it and forget it thing, but that's the plan right now. And I'm sure if we talk in a year, it would have modified from there, but that's the current plan.
If only there was a FinLocker app that we could use to leverage that for you. I'm just
that would be so
loud
if something like
we'll
that was on its way. Yeah, that'd be great.
Wait for it. All right. Well, thank you, Scott.
Man.
That's awesome. Congrats, because that's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
So Brent has joined us, Brent Willis from the Nashville, Tennessee market. Brent, so before you hopped on, we were just talking a little bit about the general lift that Art of Homeownership has given in your business. I know you're right there with Scott as a longtime Art of Homeownership partner. So can you just talk a little bit about the general improvement or value add to your business that Art of Homeownership has really had?
Yeah, absolutely. It's first of all, I'm fighting some serious allergies today, so forgive the bags under the eyes, and I may have to step off the camera here in a minute, but my apologies. But yeah, Scott may have been number one. I might have been number two in Art of Homeownership. I mean, I think we both saw the value prop right away, and certainly I've been back in origination as a branch manager for about a year and a half or so, and the first thing I realized when I got back into origination, which I was in it for a while, got out for several years, owned a few companies, sold some, shut some down, just decided I wanted to get back in the mortgage business because it's what I knew, and I liked the deal. I knew that I needed to find a value prop that was going to set me apart because I didn't want to have to compete like I used to, which was on rate and speed and experience and getting there, the deal on time. The value proposition ended at the closing table, and I knew that. So when I saw this, I immediately thought, wow, this is the differentiator. Now, it was such a vast platform. I basically asked myself, how do I put this in practice? And then how can I get other people to understand the mission and be able to educate people effectively? And so it's been a huge lift. I mean, I did more business last year in any of my previous years of origination. And strictly, I think the vast majority of it is the Art of Homeownership and being able to demonstrate the value, not only to your clients, which helps you on the front end win the deal to begin with. So business went up, but also to the realtor partners and any other professionals that were forwarding us business. And when you sit in front of CPAs and estate planners and divorce attorneys, they can send their clients anywhere for a mortgage, but the value stops at the closing table. And as Scott and Wade know, when you can demonstrate the value for the next 30 years and how you're going to bring a team of people around to educate properly, to give better advice, guidance, and planning to help the clients hit their own objectives in life so they retire better and grow their wealth, that's a proposition that nobody else in the marketplace can have. So to your point, it has been a huge lift. But where due diligence needs to be had is you have to pay attention to the platform. You have to do the trainings for a year solid. I never missed a Wednesday afternoon training with Ryan and whoever else, Valerie, you. I never missed. And so now that I'm a little bit busier and I've got more business, I attend those still fairly regularly, but as far as, the mortgage business, it's really benefited me greatly.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're going to dive into, especially where you're focusing with Art of Homeownership. I know you had the Trade Up program project that was approved, so we'll get into that then as well.
Yeah.
But Wade, can you talk a little bit about, I know you've been focusing really heavily on the realtor side of things. So can you just tell us a little bit about how Art of Homeownership has really added value to those partnerships that you've developed over the years?
Yeah, I will. And actually, I'm just going to add real quick. So when I miss a Wednesday training, the YouTube channel is fantastic, by the way. I know the e-learning platform is just a behemoth. It's a little bit much at times, but the YouTube channel, fantastic. Get in there, knock it out, and get caught right back like that. Yeah. So big fan of that. Realtor relationships. Okay, we'll be very transparent here. So pre-Art of Homeownership, I had very, very, very little realtor referred business. Okay. I was regularly 80+% of my business coming from my past client database, which mean I had really pretty good systems. Like I was doing some of like the annual financial reviews and things like that, ironically enough, based off of a Dave Savage, Ryan Grant interview that he did years ago. So I'd been doing some of these pieces, but never under the same umbrella. Like, so I'd kind of piecemealed it together, but it was not systematized. Yeah. And so I literally have gone from about 80% of my business coming from past clients to now I'm really kind of 50-50. I still have, a massive past client database over the years, but so much of my attention over the last couple of years during this refinance boom has been to get in front of agents and to answer the question, why me, with the value proposition and those types of things. It's been game changing for me and my family. I'll tell you, one of my biggest struggles though is, and this is just a general statement, so don't read too much into this, but I feel like most of the people that we interact with on the Art of Homeownership platform are going to be at a much higher caliber with their business than what I see the real estate community at. So a lot of these agents that really like the value proposition really struggle to like plug in with like the HomeBot database co-marketing. A lot of them don't even have a database to be able to import into HomeBot to then be able to go do that with you. So it's just been kind of a learning curve for them because, I mean, all of us are, let's just politely say, above average at getting a deal to the closing table. Sure. It's what happens after that matters. So, and that can be a little bit of an intangible thing to an agent who only sees what they know, which is, hey, my lender got it to the closing table. That's great. But if we don't believe that client is better off, and when I say that client, their retirement is better off because they've chosen to partner with us than without us, then we're not the right fit for them. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, I can get your deal closed, but it's the next 30 years that matter. And then you go into all the different value propositions with, House Happy, Home Concierge, the monthly real estate wealth digest, helping you track and grow your net worth with real estate and all these other things. But it's just been a wonderful, wonderful thing to educate the real estate partner with and just provide value that they're not getting anywhere else. That's the key, is how can we differentiate ourselves from our peers while adding tremendous value and standing out from the crowd. Like, it's just a great, great tool.
Yeah. And Wade, when you say that, because I would agree with you, I think that on the mortgage professional side of things, I think a lot of times they are keeping track of their past clients a lot better. They have a lot of systems implemented in their businesses. So when you're working with a realtor partner that maybe doesn't have those things in place already, is that still kind of a benefit to you? Because if they're sending you their clients, you're the one that's adding that value, but those clients still have to go through you in order to be set up for long-term success.
It depends on what type of relationship we have with the realtor partner. Some of them need a lot of help, just like, how do you get a database? What CRM do you put it in? How do I market to it? Like these types of things. My one of my coaches gave me this. I know it's hard to see, but it's a paperweight. It's got the word basics in there. Our business, it's hard, but it's not complicated. You just have to have some systems in place to get the result that you want. And then frankly, have to prospect enough to fill the top of the funnel to get the results that you want. Right. So the basics are a really amazing thing. And a lot of the real estate and lending community are not good at the basics. That's why we on this call are the ones on this call, not the ones that are wondering where our next deal is coming from, like I think the majority of the industry is right now.
And yeah, I'd love to jump. I'd love to tag team off of that, because one of the things I've noticed in talking to real estate agents specifically is the real high caliber agents, the team leaders and things of that. What I tell people is there's a difference between a real estate license holder and a real estate professional.
Right.
So when you're dealing with a true real estate professional, they're salivating when you're done going over AOH, because they have the database, they understand how to monetize it, they understand long-term value propositions, reciprocity, all those things that we all live in day to day. I do a lot of speaking at my local realtor association, and you just end up with a lot of newer agents, and those are the agents that are like, oh, that's cool, but you show it to the agents that we all want, and their eyes light up big, and they see it, and now you're having higher level conversations about implementation, overcoming objections, maximizing the potential, and all of that. And I don't know if you've seen the same thing, Wade, but it seems like the realtors I spoke to is just split in half.
I could not agree more. Right there, the ones that get it really get it, and those tend to be the ones that run their business like a business. Yep. The ones that hear what you have to say and think to themselves, "Oh, that's nice," or "That's amazing," or "I haven't heard that before." It's not that they're not disinterested. They just likely don't have the clients to send you, or they don't have the systems in place to really kind of leverage it. So those take a lot more nurturing to get them there. And I don't mind growing with people at all. It's all about adding value. But the people that this is tailor-made for are the real estate partners that are business people that have systems already. They don't have this. They don't have anything like this. Yeah. So we provide a lot of value, and it's a game changer when you're literally sit there and say, how do you know that the client's retirement is better off because they partnered with us, you and I, Mr. and Mrs. Real Estate Partner? And most of them can't answer that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It is amazing to watch the ones who get it. They really get it. Right. I remember sitting in front of a realtor, and she watched me the whole presentation, the whole bit, walked through it. And she looked up, she goes, well, don't people just want just like push button real quick? I mean, it's just a mortgage, right? And I'm like, yeah, you might not be the one for me.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear it all the time. And so this platform, while there is a lot that you can share, you can almost share too much sometimes with people. Right. And they get a little overwhelmed because then they think, oh, I can't implement this into my business. And we just need them to understand that not only can we do the mortgage at same rate, same fees, the whole bit, but better service or equal service. We're going to go from the closing to the next 30 years and help them maintain or grow their business by partnering with us. It's a huge value proposition nobody else can talk about.
Yeah. I usually talk to them about essentially what's in it for the client and what's in it for the realtor. And then if they want a much deeper dive, then we go into the deeper dive. But that's the gist of it, is they really want to know what's in it for them and how is their client truly better off. Mm-hmm. So again, don't get me wrong. I'm great about getting them to the closing table. We'll communicate all the way. It'll be a great transaction. But if you want it to be a relationship, there's all this other stuff that comes after that we can deliver on that makes us, you and I, look like rock stars to them.
Yeah, I totally agree. What I do is I position it as a tactical relationship and a strategic relationship. I help them understand what a tactical mortgage loan officer can be or does, and then what a strategic mortgage advisor does for the next 30 years. And to your point, how it benefits them in helping them grow and or maintain their business.
Yeah, exactly. Brent, you bring up a good point in that we need to tee this up with our clients and our realtor partners, because a client gets referred to us and they call us, and assuming the realtor partner is not setting it up properly, which we all wish they did, they're coming in with an expectation, right? So I was training my staff and I said, guys, imagine you go get an oil change and you're busy and you sit down and you go, change my oil, and the mechanic walks over and starts asking you about your driving habits. And you're like, listen, I'm busy. Just give me oil and let me get on my day. I go, at that point, they're asking you questions and you're actually getting annoyed because they're not meeting your expectations. But what if the mechanic came over and said, listen, I don't know if you know this, there's lots of different types of oil on the market. And using the right oil that matches up with the way you drive is going to dramatically prolong the life of your car and increase the value when you sell it down the road. So with your permission, I'd like to spend 10 minutes and understand your driving habits to make sure that I could do that for you. I go, now, instead of being annoyed, you're happy to invest the time. You'll probably never talk to another mechanic for the rest of your life. And you're probably calling people when you pull out of there to tell them about the experience. And we need to set that up with both our clients and our referral partners that way. And then things really shine.
Right.
Yep.
I like the analogy.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Brent, we're talking now on the realtor side of things. And I think to Brent's point too, something that he said was when he's presenting and there's a realtor partner that doesn't get it, and it's clear that they don't have the same mission or the same beliefs. I think that another benefit of having AOH is that you are getting the partnerships that make sense for you and your business. So if you do believe the same things, the partnership's going to be so much more successful because you're both kind of on that same mission. So really aligning your values with the people that you're partnering with is a huge lift as well.
Yep.
But Brent, I would love to hear from you because I know you have had success with the trade up side of things with our Revive partners. So talking a little bit about that project that you got approved and what the actual logistics of that actually look like, how that's going to benefit your business.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite parts to talk about because we get to talk about free money. And of course, anybody that's listening to that or anybody I do a presentation for, as soon as I say that, I just acknowledge your alarm bells just went off because there's no such thing as free money, right? So it's really important to set this up as what we do is we help you maximize the profits on one of your largest assets. We don't want our clients just falling victim to, hey, put a sign in the yard. We can sell it as is. We'll get multiple offers and then pat yourself on the back as if the realtor's actually done something for you, right? I mean, honestly, in a low inventory, lowish rate environment, who can't do that, right? I tell people who are selling their home, I'm like, you can put a sign in your own yard and you'll have multiple offers. This one isn't tough right now, but it's tough when that equilibrium buyer seller it becomes equal. Then you really need a real estate professional to get in there, market and do some things. So in knowing that, the way I've kind of educated my realtor partners is to tell them to be on the lookout for any seller. First, they can use the platform to get additional listings. It's a great tactic and conversation piece to be able to tell them what it's going to be like to work with a realtor partner who's going to be able to bring a financing team that's going to give them free money to renovate their house with the sole goal that they make more with their asset than they thought possible. So one of my real estate agents called me not too long ago, a couple of months ago, and said, hey, I may have a deal. And so we hooked up with Revive and we walked through the process. We got the project approved. It took a little while, right? It takes time for Revive to deal with the agent, for the agent to get them an estimation of value. What is the as-is value? And if we inject this money and fix it up, what's the CMA say we can sell it for after the renovation? So it took a little bit, maybe a month to kind of get all the details ironed out. But the bottom line is, in this particular instance, the realtor got a call from one of the clients who said, hey, we were given through an estate 2 different properties in an outer-lying county. We just want you to go down there, take a look at them. They're dilapidated. We just want to get rid of them. Because what do most people do when they get something given to them in terms of real estate? They want to turn it into cash. And so my realtor partner, having been pretty educated on the Revive program, he just said, hey, would you mind if I took about a week, put together some numbers, and would show you what it would look like if we invested some money in each one of these properties? And maybe I could show you a better way to enhance or maximize the profit on these homes. And of course, they said they would. And so he put together a CMA, put together the presentation. The bottom line is as is, one of the properties would have sold for $250. The other would have sold for $275. Again, in the Nashville area, that's a really outlying county that has that low sales price.
Yeah.
But what he showed them was, he said, hey, based upon my CMA, my research, and my data, if we can put about $200,000 in to cure some of these things in this property, I can sell one of them for $550. If we do the same thing on the other one, I can sell it for $575. Now, if you do the math, that's what, about $225 or so $1,000 additional that realtor just put in front of that client. And so the client, of course, said, hey, I like the delta you're talking about. That's a good chunk of money, but we don't have $400,000 to put into our properties. Right. He said, well, the good news is I have a financing team partner that's going to bring that money. It's not going to be a loan. There's not going to be any fees or interest on it. And it's based upon the equity that you have in the property, which yours are owned free and clear. And so the realtor said, I'm going to bring not only the money, I'm going to bring the renovation expert that's been licensed, bonded, and fully approved. I'm going to bring all the data that says where we need to spend that money in certain areas so the maximum return on investment for you and your family is there. And so I said, realtor, what was their reaction? He goes, well, first they just couldn't believe that we do this for them. And then, once they put the data points in front of them and the report and the research, they understood that it could be a real winner for them. And so we got it all approved. That project is kicking off now. And we're gonna line up a media company to kind of go out and chronicle that renovation. We're going to do video interviews with the sellers and what it was like to work with realtors before they met Cliff Spencer, who's with EXP here in Nashville, a great guy. What it was like after to work with Cliff, and then what was it like to work with our team on the financing side who put it all together. And so if you're an originator and you're thinking about how you can help your realtors, this is a prime example of how you can help your realtors. You explain it to them so it helps them generate the listings that they need. And then you can show them how they can better care for their client to add value to their client. That's $200,000 as a family they weren't going to make until Cliff shared some better strategies with them. And I wish I could take credit for the strategy. I mean, that was Art of Homeownership, that was Revive, and it was lots of training to understand exactly how to position it. So it worked. But as you can imagine, if you take that video that we're going to produce, again, we do this at no cost, but what we do is we take the videos that we produce and we send those into our database, and we allow our realtor partners to send it to their database. How much value do you think you're now producing for your realtor partner? So it's a huge benefit, that trade up, as well as the others that Revive has as well. They come in real handy.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I think the trade up specifically, I mean, good for you for kind of finding that perfect situation, because it's not the trade up program specifically. It's not good for everyone, if you're in a hurry to sell your house. But I think in that instance specifically, it was kind of a no brainer. So that's awesome, Brent.
Well, if you think about it too, there's no minimum and there's no maximum. There's some things Revive doesn't like to get involved with, which is like mitigation stuff, which costs a lot. The purpose of the project is to turn the money to sell it quicker, allow the client to sell the home for more. But, since there's no minimums, it could be a $5,000 staging that allows you to turn around and make $10,000 more.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that. Doesn't have to be a major renovation.
Yeah. That's awesome. So to wrap up here, we're getting to time here, but to wrap up, all I want to do is kind of go around and say, going into this new rate environment with rates going up, how do you really see yourself leveraging Art of Homeownership to keep yourself differentiated and keep thriving in this market? So Scott, I'll kick it over to you first.
Yeah. So I want to, if I may, I want to address a question that was asked about the fee that Revive charges. Ron asked about that. What I tell people is, if you factor in the fact that the market is going up about 1% a month, coupled with the fact that you have increased negotiating power as a cash buyer, that you could make that cost extremely negligible for things. And And frankly, sometimes it's a matter of this is the only way to get the deal done because nobody's going to take a contingent offer. And I have probably a dozen homeless clients right now that sold their house and couldn't buy. So, but to your question, Val, to me, you know, I love it when blood's in the water. I love when markets shift. You know, when 2008 happened, the president spoke 25 minutes from where I'm sitting right now twice. So I was the epicenter of that. Home prices dropped about 80% where I live. And from 2010 to 2015, I grew my volume 500%, even with the depressed values. And, you know, when I look at what's going to happen now as far as opportunities, lenders are going to start scrambling. MSAs are going to start canceling. Realtors are going to start looking for a competitive edge. The inventory crisis is going to be problematic. With the worker shortage in America, all employers are going to look for other ways to provide value to their employees. Every single one of those boxes, AOH checks. So the ability to go after real estate agents, top real estate agents in town that are maybe looking for an angle right now, that their current lender is a service provider, not a partner. I'm really, so I just want to double down on all of it. I'm going to look for any MSAs that I could kind of sink my claws into. I'm going to definitely, I already have several other corporate benefits options lined up that I'm going to start working on. I think everything in this market speaks to this versus darn refis are over. I guess I got to go start cold calling real estate agents and saying the exact same thing as the 70 phone calls they got that week already. So I am super pumped for the next 24 months, and AOH is at the center of all of it.
Yeah, you basically just described offense, using AOH as offense, and you can also use it for defense on your own existing past client database.
Yep.
So protect what you got. Don't give them a reason to even think about going anywhere else. And then use it as an acquisition tool as well to get new opportunities. It's wonderful.
Yep. Yeah, I would say learn the value proposition, get it down to a 20-second type of value prop. And, you know, that will really help you open up conversations with realtor partners and your clients and prospects who call you. Great question is, has the realtor explained to you what makes me different than any bank or mortgage company in the country? It's a great question. I start with that all the time. As soon as I opened up what our long-term commitment is, they forget all about interest rate and they forget all about why they really called. They're very intrigued by what we're talking about because they haven't heard it before. So understand how we're going to help you save or make money in real estate and personal finance, help you grow your wealth, and help you retire better.
Yeah, and I'll also say this. When I started following Ryan Grant's advice and doing the post-closing call where it's a Zoom and I show them HomeBot and House Happy and Revive and the tools, all of a sudden now engagement soared. Like that was really a game changer. So anybody watching this right now or listening to this at a later date, find that video on the post-closing call and implement that immediately. It doesn't take a lot of time. It obviously doesn't cost any money. And your value and engagement. I remember the first one I did, and you're always nervous, right? The first one I did when I was done, the lady looked at me through Zoom and said, "Holy cow, you actually really care. It's not just a line." And I'm like, "Nope, I actually really care."
Yeah.
I hung up and I was like, that's the right way to do business.
Right.
So those post-closing calls are crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. Just setting the expectations for sure. Wade, do you want to add anything to kind of how you're leveraging AOH in the changing rate market, how you really see yourself thriving?
So you leverage it with everyone you come in contact really with. That's one of the things that really stuck with me when I was watching the early videos and trainings and whatnot, even leading up to me signing up, was that Ryan was essentially saying, how can you add more people to your database? Because most realtors and lenders, unless you're looking to buy in the next or refinance in the next like 0 to 3 months, there's not a place for you in our ecosystem. Whereas with Art of Homeownership, there's all these different ways that you can add value, regardless of whether they're in a transaction with you or not, or even if that's not imminently the case. So just the person that knows the most people will win long term. And if you add even an iota of value, you'll come out way ahead. If you do all of these things for everyone in your database, now you've really shifted those people's lives in a big way. So I plan to continue to leverage it with my past client database specifically. I plan to continue to really pound it into my real estate partners' heads that what we can do together and accomplish together. And then, Scott, I haven't really scratched the surface with some of the corporate affinities. That's the next phase for me, just being transparent with everybody.
So hit me up. I'll be happy to share my PowerPoint with you.
There we go.
Love it.
Love the community.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you three for jumping on here. This is so valuable and sharing kind of how you're tackling this market. For those of you who are watching and want to learn how you can take advantage of Art of Homeownership and use this platform in your business, there is a link in the comments to schedule your Art of Homeownership seminar. You will have to lock in your spot because this is a limited platform. So if you decide that Art of Homeownership is not for you, that's fully refundable. Don't get scared away just because you have to reserve that. But we want the people who are really invested and want to add value to their past database and their current clients. So that is why it's a limited partnership. So thank you all again. This was so valuable. Thanks to everyone that is tuning in. Hope you are really taking advantage of rates going up and still continuing to serve your clients. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.